Tech News Weekly is sponsored by Hover.com. Domain names made simple. Go to gfq.hover.com and get 10% off your entire purchase. And by Stitcher Radio. Listen on the go via the Stitcher mobile app. For more information, go to stitcher.com/GFQ. Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. Our weekly wrap-up I'll do that again. How about that? A weekly wrap-up of I have no idea what. I'll try that one. It makes it so much easier now we don't have the intro, because if you screw up with the intro, there's no way to start over. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. This is our weekly wrap-up of everything that happened in technology. I'm Andrew Zarian, and this week I'm joined by only one person, and that's Suncast. How you doing, John?
Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
Good. A lot happened in technology this week. Holy moly!
Gosh, what a crazy week!
It was a really crazy week, and you know when it rains, it pours. And there were so many announcements this week. And the summer's kind of this lull period for technology.
This month, you know?
Yeah, September's a busy month, but August, July are dead months for technology. I mean, if there's any kind of news happening, it's really spread out. But September has started with a bang with 3 major announcements this week. I don't know which one I should do first. Should we go in order, or should we jump ahead? Which one do you want to go with?
Just go in order.
Okay, so why don't we go with Nokia? How about that? We'll start with the Nokia announcement. Nokia unveiled the Lumia 920 and the 820. Do you want to go into what they are and how, what difference they have with each other? I know you were excited about this.
I don't know if you know how, because you're more in the Windows Phone stuff than I am. I can just rattle off details, but that's about it.
Okay, go down the list. Go down the 920, and I'll talk about the actual phone.
Yeah, I mean, they announced the Nokia Lumia 920, which is the successor to the 900. It's a dual-core 1.5 gigahertz Snapdragon S4 CPU, which we actually heard talked about many months ago on some other conferences. It's got an 8-megapixel PureView camera, which a lot of people are hoping is going to be so much better than what we've seen before. It's got a WXGA screen that's 1280 by 768. It's about 25% brighter than the next best panel on the market, which is kind of cool. And there's also the 820. Let me see if I can find the specs for that.
I have nearly zero interest in the 820.
Yeah, I mean, just for comparison, the 820, basically the same CPU that you find in this 920. It's also got a gigabyte of RAM and a smaller 4.3-inch screen. The 920, I believe, is 4.7.
Now, between the 920 and the 820, there's significant difference.
In what way would you say? There's
I think
the screen size, or
I think
because they both have the same CPU in there.
They do. I believe the camera is also different on that, right?
I don't know. They really didn't talk much about the specs of the 820 compared to the 920. It basically just says that it's got 1.1 gigabyte of RAM, the same CPU, 4.3-inch display, and 800 by 480 clear black OLED screen.
Yeah, I really like the 920. I really, really like this phone. I think it's a great looking phone. And if all the camera features that they announced are actually as good in real life as they are on paper, this is a serious phone. And I found it very interesting that they concentrated on the camera for so much of that presentation. It's all about the camera. Well, that was
one of the things that Nokia has had problems with, though.
In what with the camera?
A lot of the complaints when it came to Nokia phones and Windows Phone in general was the camera.
Yeah, I actually was not happy with the camera on the 900. I have some images here if you guys want to see it. Here's what it looks like, and it's a great looking phone. I mean, a really great looking phone.
Yeah, except it's yellow.
Well, you could get it in red, you could get it in black, you could get it in silver. I mean,
but they focused on yellow. I don't understand why. Like all the shots that you see for all the press sites and everything they had on screen during the keynote, they all showed the yellow color. I'm just like, yellow? Why yellow? I mean,
I don't know why.
Doesn't do anything for me.
Obviously they didn't concentrate on the white because that's the iPhone. I guess black.
But they could have done blue.
They could have done the blue. Yeah, they could have done the silver or the red. I'm surprised they didn't go with the Microsoft red.
Yeah.
I guess it was all about the yellow one. They really want to stand out with their yellow phone. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. I don't know why they
It looks
concentrate
like
on
a
the yellow.
banana phone.
It looks awful.
That's what this guy in the chat said. Banana phone. That's great.
4.5-inch display, like you said. It's higher than HD, but not by much. 1280 by 768 display. Now that's much larger.
You know what I find really interesting is that they're calling this, or they're branding it, a Pure Motion HD Plus.
HD Plus, yeah, just a
what
little.
in the world is HD Plus?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's
That's kind of a weird thing to brand it as. What makes it different between just HD?
Well, it's a couple pixels bigger. I guess that's what it is,
wow.
right? But here's the fascinating thing. And this is the part that I had to do some research on to see what exactly they meant by this. And this is just marketing genius on their side. So they have an 8.7 megapixel pure view Carl Zeiss lens camera for their primary camera. This compared to the 8 megapixel camera that they had in the Lumia 900. Apparently, it's much better. A lot of more optics getting involved. And, of course, the software is a lot better. The secondary camera, which is a front-facing camera, is labeled as a 1280 by 960 camera.
Oh yeah, this was driving you nuts.
And it drove me. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm thinking, well, 1280 by 960 is pretty much a 1 megapixel camera. It's a little bigger than a megapixel. And the prior one was a megapixel. So when we were talking on the phone, you say, well, that's kind of, why would they write that? And why would they put such a good camera on there? Nobody else has done that. It's interesting. That's their thing. That's what's going to separate them. Well, I go to find out after reading about it, it's exactly the same exact camera as the other one. It's a 1 megapixel camera. They're just not calling it that. They're calling it a 1280 by 960 camera.
Yeah.
Well, that's 1 megapixel. So not
Why don't
that
they
great.
just say it then?
Yeah, well, it's marketing. 1080p.
That's why I don't like marketing. It's so much of just pure crap.
Well, did you hear about the issue they had with the commercial?
No.
Nokia.
Yeah. Because they thought they filmed everybody. The way they set it up, they suggested that it might have been filmed with a Nokia camera, but it really wasn't.
It wasn't,
right?
and the way you find out is the glare off of one of the cars across the street when they were filming. You could see the film crew in the glare, so that kind of went out the window. The battery is a very large battery, 2,000 milliamp battery compared to 1830 in the prior version. It's a little bit heavier. I think it's a cool looking phone. I now, will it sell? I don't know. I hope it does. I'm hoping to get my hands on one soon.
For the sake of Nokia, it has to.
Well, the sake of Windows Phone as well. This is the flagship device, and if your flagship isn't selling, what does that say about the entire brand?
True, but the fact is that there's also other manufacturers making Windows Phone, and in the past, as Paul Thurrott has noted, there are other manufacturers out there that create great Windows phones as well, such as the Samsung Focus.
I don't know, but when you think of a Windows Phone, if Nokia is the flagship, it has to sell. That's how they're marketing this
For
thing.
Nokia, it does. I don't think it would necessarily be horrible. It wouldn't be the end of Windows Phone.
If it didn't sell. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it does sell. I hope it does well.
It would be, where does Nokia go if Windows Phone fails for them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Where does Nokia go? They really don't have any more options. I mean, they're going to have to put out 1 or 2 phones a year, and that's it. I think a lot of the problems that these phone manufacturers have, like BlackBerry, is that they spread themselves thin with, revisions of the same phone twice a year.
Yeah.
BlackBerry has how many phones on the market right now? Nobody knows what the difference is.
No, and of course, they all name them with numbers.
Yeah, so I like this phone. I'm really excited for it. I hope it does well. Hopefully, we'll see what happens in the coming months. The reports are saying that it's going to be released November 2nd. Nokia is launching to start shipping and start selling November 2nd.
Yeah, and of course, we don't have any pricing information, though.
Yeah, you know what's... And I do want to say that.
And this is a very big difference between Apple and everybody else.
Yeah.
Where Apple will tell you everything right then during the keynote. It's going to come out in this many days, and it's going to cost you this much.
Well,
And I like that, but I don't like the fact that other companies don't do that. It's kind of like, you got me all excited about this, but then you don't tell me the pertinent information to really make me want to decide if I'm going to buy this or
well,
not.
in my opinion, they're missing significant sales by not releasing pricing and order dates, because a lot of the time people are buying this on an impulse buy. And when they see an unveiling and they hear about it, they go, wow, I want it. You could pre-order now. Okay. And you don't have any time to think about it. You're just doing it. And a lot of that, Apple capitalizes on when they say, okay, pre-orders starts right now. You could buy it right now, or you could go to the store, because you know there's going to be, it's almost an advantage because you know there's going to be you're going to have a hard time buying the device on the launch day. So you're kind of pushing this. Wow, it creates the hysteria all on its own. So they are missing it, but Microsoft has done that in the past. They don't release dates. They did that with the Surface. There's no date on there. There's no pricing.
Because we have this in the tech industry all the time, where a company comes up with a product that's a concept, and they maybe make a prototype of it, but it in all eventuality, it's just vaporware, and it never ever materializes. It's just
it happens all the time.
There.
Yeah.
So in a way, this almost kind of feels like it's there, but it's still vaporware, because you still can't physically, you can't do anything about it. It's announced. It still doesn't really exist.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm curious to see how they're going to do with this. November 2nd is the date. Now, on the same day, there was another announcement. Motorola had an announcement. Let me just criticize this, the presentation of this. It was really long, the Nokia one. And it was just redundancy. They just repeated the same thing multiple times. It could have been cut down to half the time, and it would have gotten more information out there. I think they dragged this thing out for way too long.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like you said, they focused a lot on that camera, which is kind of neat that they do have some things in here, which are pretty cool. They have CNN report built in, or it will have it built in. It basically has apps inside of the camera. So apps inside of the camera app, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that you could take people out. Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody wants. It's more tighter integration with things that we use the most.
So Motorola, on the same day, held their announcement. This was a Verizon Motorola announcement. Motorola unveiled the Droid HD, Razr HD, I should say, the Motorola Razr M, and the Motorola Razr Max HD. Now, this is I don't know.
To me, that all sounds like the same device.
It's the same device, yeah, pretty much. So the Motorola HD, the Droid Razr HD, is packing a 4.7-inch display, 720p, ice cream sandwich. Amazing how it's ice cream sandwich when Jelly Bean is out. So here we go. Motorola's flagship phone does not have the latest version of Android on it. The same problem that they faced this is the same problem that every Android manufacturer faces, where they're putting out outdated phones because they can't keep up. So automatically, I'm turned off and I have zero interest in this phone.
Well, now, are you saying that Google should slow down development of Android?
No, I don't think Google should slow anything down. I think the problem is that the manufacturers need to keep up, and they need to put the latest version of Android. The problem is they can't do that because they're skinning it over with their nonsense.
True.
And there may be compatibility issues. And I think that's what's holding them back. Or they just don't want to put the latest version on there. Who knows? But that makes a huge difference in this device. It's not appealing to me now because it doesn't have the latest version of the phone. With that said...
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, all right, you're going to announce these new phones that are not even running the latest operating system. Why should I even look at them?
With that said, the specs are not that awful. Dual-core Snapdragon processor, clocked at 1.5 gigahertz, 8-megapixel camera, which I'm sure it's going to be bad.
Basically the same specs, almost down to a T, as the new Nokia 920.
Yes. NFC, and here's the amazing thing. A 2,500 milliamp battery. I have not seen a battery this big come stock on a phone.
Yeah.
So this thing is a battery hog. And they're telling you. Now, the Motorola Razr M, 4.3-inch display, HD to QHD display, 1.5 gigahertz dual core, hitting Verizon, $99. Actually, it's currently $149, but they probably will drop the price of $99. Display is not that great. It's all right. I'm trying to see any other specs. No, nothing really important with that one. And there's also the Razer Max HD, which is a 4.7-inch display. So what is the difference between the Razer Max and the Razer HD?
I have no idea. This is what's confusing. I don't know if you have a picture of all three of them side by side.
Oh, here we go. It has a 3,300 milliamp battery.
These are all so close together. You're really nitpicking at different specs on the hardware, really. And I think when it comes to the average person, they're not going to care necessarily as far as those different specs as far as the phone is concerned. You know what I'm saying? Where a consumer is not going to say, oh, well, this one has a bigger amount of memory in it. This one has less memory, or this one has a bigger battery. They're not necessarily paying attention to that at first. That's something that the Verizon sales rep is going to have to sell them on, and all that stuff. They really don't even give a crap about. The average consumer just doesn't.
I mean, I guess their plan is, and the same thing goes for Samsung and HTC, is saturate the market with as many phones as possible, and it'll seem like we're putting out something good all the time. I don't know.
I'll be honest. I'm not one to. I'm not a big phone guy. And there are operating systems. I just don't. There's not one that I love the best.
But I
don't hate any of them. But at the same time, comparing Motorola to Nokia, I'd much rather go for that 920 than any three of these Motorola phones.
The 920, yeah. It's not impressive.
That 920 sounds way better than any of these Motorola's.
But here's the amazing thing. You know, Motorola Mobility was acquired by Google, and yet they don't have a Google experience.
Well, it's almost like they're still trying to keep Motorola separate from Google.
It's almost like they're being punished.
They've had in the works before they were acquired. But still, why wouldn't Google say, "Hey, you shouldn't do this," and kill the project?
Well, it seems like they don't want to show their favorite manufacturers, so they're not making them the exclusive.
But who cares? Just put out good phones.
The phone is not awful.
The problem with Motorola is that people don't necessarily like their phones. They've been criticized for their crappy hardware in the past.
Yeah.
And here they are basically doing the same thing again, where they have three phones that are nearly identical. Why don't you just focus on one phone?
Here they are. Here are the three phones.
And look how well it goes for them.
Here are the three phones.
Sometimes less is more.
Yeah, and this is courtesy of Engadget. I'm the phones don't bother me as much because I think they're all the same design now at this point. It's the fact that
all three of those look exactly the same.
All three of them look exactly the same.
Other than the screen size on the one that's 4.3 inches.
4.3 and 4.7. But my biggest problem with these phones is that they're now running the latest version of Android, and that latest version came out months ago. So it's not like it's coming out like a week later.
Well, Motorola does have a plan for that. They did announce that they are wanting to upgrade all of their devices to Jelly Bean. And what they're doing to help that is that they promise that if your device is not able to be updated to Jelly Bean, they will give you $100.
And going how far back?
Let me see. It's pledging to give you $100 credit off one of its brand new handsets, which are being unveiled today. It's not giving details about how to go. I think what they're going to do is they're going to set up a website where you can actually go and
get the credit.
Try and claim it. File an application, basically. Today's keynote, Dennis Woodside pledged that the company will attempt to upgrade all of its new and existing Android handsets. But yeah, they didn't really say how far back. So I'm guessing anything that's out there now.
Currently in the market. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. But let me just throw this out there. It's upgradable, yes. They said it's going to be upgradable by the first quarter, the end of the fourth quarter, early first quarter. That's okay too. But until Verizon starts rolling out the updates, it's going to be a while.
Right.
It's not just Motorola's decision to put this on your phone. Verizon actually has to pull the trigger, and we all know how good they are with updates because I have Verizon, and I suffer every day. Talking about Verizon, don't know where my phone is. That's not good. I don't know.
You don't need it anyway.
Yeah. You want to go into the Kindle stuff?
Yeah, because this is kind of fascinating, some of the stuff that they've announced and just where they went with this. Because this, I don't think anybody really expected them to go necessarily the way that they have with their announcements. Because we kind of figured, there was rumors that there was going to be like two Kindles, maybe a 10-inch, maybe one that was slightly larger, but we didn't really get any of the rumors down pat. So what happened is they announced basically a bunch of new tablets. Let me see if they have. First, they started out with the Kindle e-reader, excuse me, which is basically what they have now. It's just
Simple,
slightly
bare
upgraded
bones.
from last year's version, and it's a little bit cheaper at $69, which is ad supported.
Eighty
And
nine,
that's
eighty
available
nine
now.
without ads, by the way. If you
Yeah.
don't want ads, $89.
And then one of the rumors that we kind of did get recently was the new Kindle Paperwhite version. And this is kind of cool because it has a self-illuminating screen. Basically, it's just a bunch of fiber optic lighting circling display. It's kind of cool if you like more of a white look to it instead of a gray pearl to your screen. This is a very neat feature that kind of competes with the Nook's Glow screen. It's $119 with Wi-Fi and $179 for the 3G as supported version.
Okay.
And then this is where they start with the new Kindle Fires, and this is a little interesting in the fact that they announced the Kindle Fire 7-inch version. It's their baseline tablet for just $159. You get a faster CPU and longer battery life, which ships on September 14th.
Yeah, which it's pretty much
basically next week.
identical to the previous Kindle Fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
just with the upgraded
just
CPU.
upgraded
basically.
CPU. Okay.
And then they have the new Kindle Fire HD 7-inch version. So this is why I don't get is that they have the HD version, which is the cheapest version of their new flagship tablet. It's $199 for the 16 gigabyte version, but they also have a 32 gigabyte version for $249, which is great because as everybody knows, the original Kindle Fire only came with 8 gigabytes, which is like nothing today. And it's really interesting that they would have this Kindle Fire SD version, which is what they're calling it internally, but then they also have a HD 7-inch version.
Okay. So
Why would you do an SD and an HD version?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you just leave out the SD version and go with the HD versions?
I don't know. I found that interesting why they didn't do that. So that's as far as the 7-inch. And then they announced an 8.9-inch,
Yeah.
which
Which is the same as the 7-inch version, just with a higher resolution screen, 1920 by 1200 pixels. And it'll cost $299 for the 16 gigabyte model and $299 for the 32 gigabyte model, which ships on November 20th.
and they're running Android 4.0, by the way, in the background.
Yeah, and then they also have 8.9-inch version with 4G LTE wireless on it, which is also the same as the two before it, and it's on AT&T. And it'll be $499 for the 32 gigabyte version and $599 for a 64 gigabyte version.
Wow, that's
so
big.
it'll be interesting if you actually want a wireless version that's really wireless. That's the way to go, I think.
Yeah, 8.9. I mean, here's the thing. I don't like the overall skin that Amazon puts on this thing.
Oh, it's absolutely horrible.
But with that said, for $299, they're undercutting the iPad in that same category. I think the
Speaking
iPad is
of
what
the
9
iPad.
point. What is the iPad is what 9.1 inch display?
I'm not exactly sure.
Someone could pull up the display size. I can't remember, but they're undercutting the iPad by a good $200.
Well, I think it's clear that from their keynote, that they're actually targeting people that are interested in the iPad because they put dual band MIMO Wi-Fi antennas in the new Kindle Fires HDs, and they're actually saying that it's faster than the iPad.
iPad 3. I don't know if you heard that. They kept
Yeah.
saying iPad 3, and I was actually I'm very concerned. Not concerned, but I was questioning if that was for legal reasons.
It's also got a new front-facing camera, which is something that I think it lacked was the camera and actual physical buttons on the device for changing the volume.
Does it have it or it doesn't have it?
I think it does. Nobody's actually specifically said if it has the volume rocker on it, but if you actually look at pictures, it does have some sort of rocker on it. Just nobody says what that rocker is. But it also, this is another great feature that it also has that I don't think I listed on here, was that it also has micro HDMI out on all of them.
Micro HDMI out. Okay.
Which is a lot better than the Nexus 7, because the Nexus 7 doesn't even have micro HDMI out, I don't think.
No.
So if you actually need to have video out from your tablet, I think the Kindle Fire HD is definitely the way to go.
I like how they're calling the camera HD. That's all it says. Front camera, HD.
Yeah, well, that's what they say everything is. But just HD is a very loosely used term these days. Yeah, because I don't necessarily like it, because what you and me think of HD, we think about crystal clear, super sharp, 1280 by 720p video. But a lot of times what you get with these phones that claim they're HD is a much grainier version of what you would normally see on like TV.
Well, for them, and this is the problem with HD. For them, it's the actual size of the canvas, which is 1280 by 720. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's high def. It just means the size of it is high def size.
Right.
Now, you can make that into anything. Anything can be scaled up or scaled down. It's not true HD because the optics are crappy and they're not able to, produce good quality video. Right now, we're in HD, but we're not network quality. I wouldn't consider this network quality.
Yeah.
So it is interesting how HD has become such a loosely used term at this point.
Go ahead.
I like that Amazon does this. Now, would I buy another Kindle Fire? Last year when I got the Kindle Fire, I was really excited. Really, really excited to get this device, which is right here. I probably used it maybe 12 times over the last year. And most of the time, it's just to recharge the battery.
One too.
I got you one, yeah. I got it for you. But, I mean, you use yours a lot more than I do.
I don't know about that. I use it occasionally.
Yeah, and
if I go away somewhere, I use it all the time.
I was really excited for it, and I was saying, well, this is pretty cool. It's pretty fast. It'll get better with updates. But unfortunately, they have not released any updates for this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a little disappointed that they didn't.
Do they need to when they're releasing a new model every year?
Yes, they have to. Apple does that. What I was hoping they would do is say, okay, you know what? And also for old users, we're going to update. We're going to send an update to help with battery life, whatever.
I was really hoping that Amazon would have offered some sort of upgrade discount to existing owners. Because these new tablets that they announced are so much better than last year's Kindle Fire. Like, it's so much better.
I don't like to use the term game changer, but this really is, and I think this is going to kick a lot of these 10-inch Android tablets that are on the market. I don't think it's really going to go after the iPhone.
Tablets have come a long way over the past 2-3 years.
Oh, yeah, totally changed the market. The market is totally dominated by them, and there's so much to pick from. I think
they've kind of started to get their act together and figure out what it is that people want, how they need to do this. But yeah,
I would like to see. The. Actually, my question. I'm looking here at the Kindle Fire HD 7-inch, and the Kindle Fire 2011. Now, the new Kindle Fire, the standard one, not the HD, the SD, is that running a new operating system as well, or is that still the old operating system?
They're all Android 4.0 as far as I've been told.
Okay, because I didn't see it in the chart that you had. I wonder if you're going to be able to port it over to the old one.
Good question.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. Well, another project here. Created.
But here's one of the problems that I do have with this, and this is something that's kind of been developing over the past day or two, as far as whether or not these Amazon Kindle Fires have special offers attached to them, and whether or not you can opt out of them. And we've been kind of getting some conflicting.
Explain what that means.
Stories for this.
Explain what the
special offers are. Basically, these tablets from Amazon are subsidized with ads that are on your lock screen. And in the past, you would be able to either buy out by paying, $20, $25 before you buy it, or when you buy it, or after you buy it, you could also pay the difference of $20, $25 and remove these ads that were subsidizing the cost of the tablet. Now what they're saying is that, and this is kind of, we're not exactly 100% sure in this yet, Engadget reported that they're going to be stuck with ads and you can only get rid of them after you purchase it. But now CNET
What do
has
you
a Amazon
purchase
that?
what? Purchase whatever they're
Yeah.
advertising?
purchase the tablet.
Okay.
But CNET has talked to a Amazon spokesperson, and the person that they talked to said that there's absolutely no way for you to opt out of these ads that are on the lock screen anymore. These special offers.
So they're
This is very
subsidizing.
interesting.
They're subsidizing the cost with ads.
Yeah.
I don't. Will most people be affected by that? What do you think? Do you think most people would be annoyed by that?
I think for enthusiasts like me and you, it's kind of a deal breaker.
I
For me,
personally
it's
wouldn't
kind of
like
a deal breaker. I don't want to see any ads on my tablet, none. And the fact that there's not going to be any way to opt out, even if you wanted to spend another $20-$30 more to remove the ads, I think is a little ridiculous. I think they need to have an opt out option there. They need to have something there because, in a way, to me, it's a deal breaker. It really is. I mean, I think specs wise, it's a great tablet, but the fact that my lock screen is going to have freaking ads on it,
Yeah.
it's going to bug me.
Interesting. I'm just trying to see here on what ways you could eliminate this. I guess you can, but this is the other argument. We kind of understand that the price is subsidized with ads, and that's why they're able to sell this tablet at $299. But I don't think the consumer knows that this device is subsidized. I think they just see it as I paid $300 and I have ads.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's how they're going to see this.
But even for people that are like me and you, it just, to me, the techie kind of people out there are the kind of people that are all about removing ads. And I don't think they would be opposed to paying a little bit more to remove those ads. And the fact that they're not going to have any option whatsoever to opt out of those ads bugs me.
Yeah.
I think they need to have some sort of option to opt out.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Even if
it's a $50 opt out option, I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah. If they said, okay, here are the ads. If you want to opt out, $50, you could pay us and we could opt out. Yeah, I'm surprised they're not giving you an opt out. If more people complain, they might end up doing it, to be honest. I'm curious to see how that plays out. Any other Kindle news? Or those were the big
they announced
ones?
3 other little things that go along with the Kindle Fire. They announced Kindle Free Time, which is a special mode that makes it easier for children to navigate, while any adults create separate profiles that let us to set up what the children can do, which is kind of cool. But it's also, really cool, in a way, a multi-user interface, if you will, which is kind of cool. Because that's something that a lot of people have been kind of wanting with tablets, is some sort of multi-user support.
Yeah, I would love that.
Every tablet lacks right now.
I could almost guarantee that the next iPad will probably have it.
Yeah. And then there's also X-Ray for movies, which is basically getting you information from IMDb directly while you're watching that movie, which is kind of neat, but I don't know how often people are actually going to use that.
How often do people watch movies on these devices, too? I would like to see that.
I think people watch a lot of movies on them. I really do. I mean, because you got to remember, they also have Amazon Prime attached to these Kindle Fires, and you can basically stream instantly from Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture now. It's not bad looking. Yeah. So what it does, it pops up, I guess, the artist info.
Yeah, actor bios, cast list, etc.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then the other feature was something called Whisper Sync for games and voice, which is kind of neat. What it does is if you're listening to an audio book, but you also have the ebook or a text version of a book, it'll actually let you pick up in the text version exactly where you left off on the audio version. So say if you're in your car listening to the audiobook version and you get home but decide you'd actually rather read it instead, you can pick up exactly where you left off from the audio version.
Oh, that is actually pretty cool.
And it'll also do the same for games. So if you're playing a game on your tablet, such as Angry Birds, and you want to leave, to go do something else, but you want to come back and lift and pick up right where you left off,
It
they'll
knows.
actually save the game state to the cloud.
Yeah, that's actually really handy because, God forbid, you try to do that with a regular Android tablet, the application just crashes on you. So that's out of the window. Some other news that has also come out, other than Kindles and Windows phones. Verizon CMO confirms that it will be selling BlackBerry 10 devices and multiple Windows Phone 8 handsets.
Just the one BlackBerry 10 device.
Is it just one?
Just one. They're only going to be selling a single BlackBerry 10 device.
But I thought there were going to be
launches.
there were going to be two devices.
There's going to be one that's touchscreen only and one that's going to have an actual physical QWERTY keyboard.
So which one did they go with? I really hope it's not just the keyboard one.
It'll be interesting. I suppose, I think most people want touchscreen these days. So,
so that came out today, the other day. Apple announces iPhone 5 launch event for September 12th, which we will be covering next week here on the GFQ Network. It's Wednesday, September 12th at 1 p.m. East. You could tune into gfqnetwork.com or gfqlive.tv and watch us do the coverage. There was some possible leaked packaging information where they were calling it the new iPhone.
There's been so much leaked information. We've had videos. We've had photos. We've had photos of the packaging.
Yeah, I saw the photos of the package, like the billboards and stuff, and that was fake. That was confirmed to be fake.
Okay.
So that's not real. My question is, I don't know if they'll call it the iPhone 5 because on the actual press invite, it says, the date, it says 12, and then underneath is the shadow of the 12, and it says 5.
Yes, but somebody also mentioned, and I don't remember where I heard this, but it's actually the 5th anniversary
of the iPhone, yeah.
Of the iPhone. So it could just be because it's the 5th year of the iPhone.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be called the iPhone 5 just because it has a 5 underneath there.
Apple also ready to launch a new iMac, reports say. Fox News claims the device will be having an Intel Ivy Bridge processor, improved graphics, USB 3.0, so that's on its way. Now, there was stories coming out today that Apple's in talks of creating a Pandora-like service.
Yeah.
The company's
sent Pandora stock plummeting.
Yeah.
Which I find very interesting that just the rumor of Apple doing this would affect another company's stock price in that way.
The company's allegedly in talks with record companies to license music for custom music services, and it would create a virtual music station based on the songs and artists of your choice. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. We've heard this rumor for a while. They would be competing with services like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, etc. We've heard about this for about 2 years now, and we have not seen it. I do think it's the next evolutionary step for Apple when it comes to music because they've pretty much done everything out there. I think they could also charge for this and make a couple bucks. Did you now? I want to touch on this,
but I think they actually have to have some sort of free version of it as well. I mean, because I'm a big user of Pandora and I love Pandora for what it is, and I think there's always going to be people like myself that like services like that, but would not be willing to pony up, $10 a month for a subscription service to it.
Now, the next news that we have here, and this was a couple days ago, this story came out that Apple's replacing their earbuds with a new design, possibly. And this is where it gets a little bit nutty because if anything is white, automatically people assume it's for the iPhone. All this is a pair of white headphones. And here's the image. It's a little weird looking. The sides are cut off. And now they're saying, that may be the new headphones for Apple. There's really no proof of that. It's just some guy holding it and saying that it was discovered in Vietnam.
But there's a lot of
and
people
it looks
that are
authentic.
There's a lot of people that are hoping that they redesign the earbuds, the classic earbuds that they have now, because a lot of people find that they just fall out of your ears too easily, and they think that a design like this might actually be better.
So what's the special thing about this design? They go in a different way?
I think they go in just a little bit differently. It's a little bit more angle. It's not just a circle with rubber on it. Well,
the iPhone, I mean, those stock headphones are garbage, but and this is just, the hype behind Apple, where anything that's coming out that's white and shiny is considered
Anything
to be a
that's even
potential.
related to iPhone. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
The fact that we had all this hysteria over just parts of the case in the circuit board for supposedly the iPhone 5. We're not even sure if it necessarily is for the iPhone 5. But the fact that you can have this circuit board or a case that possibly looks like an iPhone would have such hysteria over it.
Yeah. Really cool, though. I mean, it's a nice looking earbud. We'll see. I'm excited for next week. I'm excited to see what Apple does. We kind of know already what the design is going to be like, but some of the features we don't know. And yeah, I'm really excited to see that.
Everybody all day long can have all these freaking rumors about Apple, but I mean, in all reality, you can't believe necessarily anything until Apple says it.
Yeah.
Until Apple says it, I don't necessarily believe anything. I think there's information out there that supports rumors out there, but even that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what Apple is going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even stuff out there that says, well, here's all our evidence that the possible launch date for the iPhone is going to be September 21st.
Yeah,
but how do we know that?
And
we don't know that for sure.
And people
not
bought
until Apple says so.
People bought plane tickets. People got hotels booked months ago because they thought September 12th is the date. I mean, can you imagine if it wasn't?
Yeah.
All based on speculation. You want to go into one more story? You pick one, and we'll do our picks.
Let's see. Well, you want to talk about this survey that somebody did about mobile users that tend to distrust their phones, which I think is an interesting story. The fact that a lot of people out there distrust their phones over privacy issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that's true? Do you think a lot of people do, or do you think it's just nobody really pays attention?
I think it's a combination of both. But looking at these stats, they're saying that 59% of their people back up their phone.
How many percent?
59%.
That's really high.
32% of cell phone owners have cleared the browsing history or search history on their phone. 19% of cell phone owners have turned off the location tracking feature on their cell phone because they were concerned that other individuals or companies could access that information.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. They also note that smartphone owners tend to be a little bit more vigilant in backing up and protecting their data. More than half back up their phones, clear the history, and 1/3 have actually turned off the location tracking feature.
I don't know. You see, Jessica turns hers off, but not for privacy because she feels that it drains her battery. I don't know. I don't know anybody that's concerned with security on their phone.
Really?
And it's scary to say that. Yeah, I don't know anybody.
I think we're in this age now where we need to be concerned about stuff like that. Because we've seen in the past all these applications that we don't know what they do. We absolutely have no idea exactly what these applications have access to. Even if it says that.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And let me tell you, a lot of people also keep a lot of private stuff on these phones.
Right.
Personal photos they would not want out in the public. Personal information, text messages. People are typing away and taking pictures of things they would never want people to see. But yet they download all these applications that they have no idea what they are. They have no idea what the terms of services are for these applications, and they just download away.
Right, and if you think about it, PCs are targeted with viruses because they are one of the most ubiquitous appliances in the world.
Yeah.
More so than Mac. That's why you don't see nearly as much malware or virus or Trojans targeted for the Mac, simply because there's less Macs.
Yeah, sure.
That's just the nature of it.
Not because it's safer, because there's less and nobody's going after them.
But now that everybody has Android and iPhones, they're actually looking to be very appetizing towards these people that make Trojans and viruses and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm amazed at the fact that we are still the problem is, for a long time, computer users you had to be an enthusiast to be a computer user. For a long time, you had to kind of know what you were doing to kind of get it. It's become so simplified, and I think everybody now has a computer, and everybody got so used to it, where everybody has a computer. So yeah, viruses spread a lot easier because people have no idea what they're doing and just clicking away. The same thing goes for the phone. Everybody has a cell phone.
You said everybody has a computer nowadays. Everybody has a smartphone nowadays.
I think Android is far more dangerous than iOS, in my opinion, when it comes to downloading things that you don't know, because the App Store is not as heavily regulated as iOS. I think a lot of people don't know what they're doing. If you look in the App Store, Android has a lot more junkware on there than iOS does. Now, that's not saying that iOS is invulnerable, because they're not, and there are breaches all the time. But Android alarms me when I see someone with an Android that has no idea how. I'll give you one example. I have a friend, and she had this issue with her phone, and she goes, she has a Razr. She brought it over, and I looked at it, and she's downloaded apps up the ass. I mean, things that I never even imagined they would want, like the Family Guy app. Like, turn yourself into a Family Guy character, and the Will Ferrell soundboard. Just hundreds of these apps. And I'm looking at, and there's like an antivirus. There's a pop-up blocker app. I mean, just crazy stuff. Just downloaded everything she could find. And I asked her, I'm like, do you use any of this? She goes, no. I'm like, do you know what they are? She goes, no. And I told him, like, you're downloading stuff that's not really regulated. He goes, yeah, but it's in the App Store. Google, it's in the App Store.
You use them, why are you downloading them?
Because people like to click on things and download. Same reason why they get viruses on their computer, because they click on things and they don't know what they're doing.
So it's the user's fault.
It is a user. Absolutely. Absolutely, it's the user's fault. I don't think it's Android's fault. I don't think it's Google's fault. The whole thing is open, so you have to know what dangers come with open. I can criticize Google all I want, but in the end, it's your responsibility to think twice what you're downloading, read some reviews on the product you're downloading. And let me say this, Google has tightened it up, but it's still not where it should be, in my opinion. I still think there's a lot of flaws with the App Store.
Somebody with malicious intent will always find a way to do what they want.
Sure.
We've even seen this with the App Store on iPhone. The simple fact is people will find a way around and find exploits to take advantage of.
Listen, when it comes to exploits, you can find exploits anywhere. I could socially engineer you to get the information that I want from you, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a reality too. And a lot of times people get passwords, people get into your private information all based on social engineering. You don't need to.
It's a good thing I have this really old BlackBerry.
Really
it doesn't have any of those things that Android and iOS have.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a smart one. What can I say? But I do think that we as users have to protect ourselves and not think that, it's Apple. I have a Mac. I won't get a virus. I have a Mac. Oh, I have an antivirus. I have Nod32. I have Norton. I won't get a virus. It's a silly thing to think about. You could have an alarm system in your car, but if you're parking in the bad side of the neighborhood, you know what? They might still break in. Yeah. It's a reality. I see an antivirus as an alarm system. I see it as an anti-theft system. I don't see it as Fort Knox.
Of course not. I mean, nothing's 100% secure.
But it's this false security that people have, and this is why people get infected in all cases. Because they think they're safe, and they're clicking away, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. I'll tell you something. Let me tell you something. I got a letter here. Okay, I'm gonna pull something out here, and then we can wrap it up. But it's not really tech related, but it kind of is. I gotta find this letter. Okay, I got a letter here, and I've never experienced this before. Dear Andrew Zarian,
you have a letter?
I got a letter.
Actually sent it to you in the mail.
In the mail. Okay, I'm gonna read you this. Dear Andrew Zarian, I'm the chief accounting auditor for one of the prime financial securities and investment institutions in Madrid, Spain. This private and confidential communication is meant to intimidate you with the financial business proposal. The success of this transaction is entirely based on your cooperation, mutual trust, and sense of confidence. There are two reasons why I'm contacting you. The first is that you bear the same last name as one of our valued customers and industrialist, Anita Zarian, a national of your country who was killed alongside her 15-year-old daughter in a terrible automobile accident in 2007.
Jeez.
Her total investment exceeds $7 million US. The second is to place your name as a possible is that placing your name as possible next of kin or relative makes any claim most credible. So pretty much, they're telling me that I have to contact Gabriel Fitch at accountants.com to get my $7 million. And
yeah, that doesn't sound like a scam.
Now, this is something that people fall for all the time, the Nigerian prince scams that happen all the time online. I got a letter for that yesterday. I wonder how many people are actually going to fall for this. And how many people are going to say, you know what? Oh my God, honey, $7 million.
You know what's even scarier than something like that is some of these UPS scams that are out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of
which
UPS
my
scams.
parents have gone in where a scammer will send you an email that looks like it might be from UPS saying that you have a package that was trying to be delivered to you, but you need to go to this website and give us some information.
I'm going to call this guy.
And my mom almost fall for that.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. But again, you have to protect yourself and you have to be informed. That's what it really comes down to. All right, let's do our picks of the week. What do you think?
All right.
Let me see. Who's going to go first for the picks of the week?
You are, because you never go first.
I will go first this week. You know, my pick is a very simple pick this week. I'm a big Mozilla user, and I've been using Firefox for some time now, and I've been one of the people that criticizes them on a regular basis. I think they really dropped the ball over the last couple of releases. It's become a memory hog, especially on the Mac. It's awful. They released Firefox 15 earlier on in the week, I think late last week, and I had some time to use it, and I have to tell you, they've really cleaned up a lot of the issues that they had. The memory leaks are gone. It's really fast. It's a much better browser than it used to be. I personally, I have Chrome. I can't get into it. I don't use Safari at all. I'm a big Firefox user, and I have to tell you, they've really done a solid job with Firefox 15. So my pick is Firefox.
Sweet.
My pick. That's it. Very simple. Very quick.
I'm liking the new version of Firefox.
Have you been using it?
I think it's a lot faster.
Oh, it is. It's much faster. Much faster. All right, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is a extension for Windows Explorer. It's called Clover, and this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Is add tabs to Windows Explorer. Clover adds Chrome-like tabs to Windows Explorer in a very, very cool way. I mean, it looks exactly like Chrome tabs. I mean, like, exactly. It's got the same shape and everything on it. I don't know if you have the website pulled up there so that people can actually see what this looks like. Because I'm always in Windows Explorer. I'm always in multiple locations, moving files around for GFQ, editing stuff, getting stuff together, all these graphics stuff that I have to do. So having the ability to have one window open with multiple tabs for Windows Explorer to find and view files is very, very, very helpful to me. It's really cool, and it's got a lot of features in it as well. It doesn't just add tabs. You're going to actually have a bookmark bar where you can bookmark locations. I mean, yeah, you can do your favorite locations, but now you can actually do bookmarks, which is really cool. And of course, you can pin tabs, which is really cool. So if there's one tab that you want to have open all the time, you can just pin it. You can duplicate tabs. It's really, really cool. Very well done. It's a free extension for Windows Explorer. I don't know where the website is for it. It's a weird website. I'm just gonna spell it because I don't know how to say it. It's EJIE.me. I don't know really how to say that website's name or whatever. It's called Clover, and it's for Windows XP all the way to Windows 8 on both 32-bit and 64-bit platforms.
Very, very cool, Suncast. That's actually, a lot of people will like that because they might need to use IE and they don't like the interface. So that's a really cool pick.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's just, here's the problem that I have with it now is that I'm so used to having multiple Windows Explorer windows open that I forget that I can do tabs now, and
Mm.
so I'm always closing out the Windows Explorer window, forgetting that I actually have tabs open and losing where I was working.
Oh, that's really funny. All right, guys, that wraps it up for today. Suncast, thank you for joining me. And, of course, you can check out John's website at Amadeus. Spell it out for me, John.
AMADAIS.com.
Also, you can follow John on Twitter at Suncast. You could also follow me at Andrew Zarian on Twitter. And you could, of course, check the show out on our website, gfqnetwork.com, where everything is archived there. And until next time, guys, see you later, and be strong, and take care of your computer. Goodbye.